Today we're going to be taking a trip back in time to the most offensive and controversial form of bodywork on the internet. Lead loading. Most people don't know this, but lead can smell fear. Lead is actually more afraid of you than you are of it. Welcome back to Things That I Don't Want to Work On. Today we have 1964 Impala doors. Some of the worst garbage I've seen in a while. I was asked to repair it, and I was privileged enough to be given the option of two different doors to repair. I get to pick the best one, but the problem is neither of these is the best. These are both the worst of all time. Over here we have Exhibit A, which is apparently the good door. Let's take a look. We have some interesting repairs here. Brazing done here. And I don't even know what's going on this edge, but it's not looking too promising there. And as we navigate our way inwards, we have the classic drill and tug method. And now if we get a look up here, you can see that there's a bit of a swale to it, and that's not actually a natural feature of this particular panel. We put our straight edge across here, and it's in a fair ways, just as it is all through down to the bottom. Punched in pretty hard, and the further we go up, it does not improve. It's also got a nice little creasy crease right here, and so this is apparently the good door. Oh, and it's got speaker holes hacked in both corners because why not? Over here we have the bad door. We can see that, well, this is all Bondo here, or as we call it in the biz, product. And it's been applied in a rather heavy-handed manner. Get a depth gauge there. There's some stuff on there, and plenty of brazing action as well over here, and then something going on here. What else do we got? More brazing down here. So I think step one here is I'm going to try to scrape off this remaining filler on here just to see what's actually we have to work with. What I'm hoping is that this door had damage and they literally just filled over it and didn't make any attempt to pull it out. I would rather fix a dent that hasn't been messed with than this that somebody's already tried to repair. But I have a bad feeling that we are going to end up having to fix this door, but let's just see what's here, see what we have to work with, and then go from there. All right, been pondering on this for a day or two now, and unfortunately, giving up isn't an option on this. So I've decided the best course of action is going to be to take this skin from this mangled door and use it on the other door. I did some excavating on this door here, and what we found was not very promising. It's been a victim of the old brazen pave. So this actually wasn't from collision damage. Near as I can tell, it was rusted out behind the trim, and somebody tried to braze in a patch and just kept blowing holes and adding more brazing, and this whole door must have just been like red hot. And it's also the same situation under the other trim holes here, and it just literally, the heat buckled the whole door in, and then somebody tried re-sculpting it and actually did a fairly convincing job. And now we're left with this mess. which is just not something that I feel needs to be repaired. So we're gonna fix the collision damage door. Unfortunately, you know, if they had just bondoed over the rust, we would probably be fixing this door instead. But as soon as they started trying to braze it and weld it and stuff, it good intentions, and they did more damage than they would have done if they had just bondoed over the rust holes. I know people are screaming, don't bondo over rust holes, but honestly, it does less damage sometimes than people trying to weld or braze stuff. So I've decided that the inner structure from our brazen paved door is going to be getting used because it doesn't have any speaker holes cut in the corners. So, and this door also hasn't been involved in a horrible side impact. So I suspect the inner structure is in substantially better shape than the other door. Also, this door was bolted on the car, so we at least know that it fits. So that is, you know, promising in that regard, that the inner structure hasn't been tweaked. I think the inner structure on this door is just a bit too much work to justify saving. When they cut out the speaker holes here on the front of the door, where the hinge brace is, you can't even see it, but see if we can turn the light on here. So when they cut out the speaker hole here, they actually also cut out all the inner brace. There's supposed to be an inner brace here for the door hinge. So all that structure has been compromised. So we'd have to rebuild all that, not just weld up this hole here. And then there's another hole butchered here. They didn't cut through any of the structure, but I mean, still, it's not exactly looking fantastic. What else is there? There's also a bit more rust on the bottom here than the other door. You can see there's some pinholes here, split there, and there's supposed to be a flange here that is completely gone away. So I think when we start, oh yeah, it's also blown out here. So I'm not going to save this inner structure, but we do have to save the outer skin, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge. So for peeling off the skin, I just start by using this custom hook vice grip tool that I made. It's crude, but it does a pretty good job of just getting in and peeling that skin back the initial way, and then to get the rest of the way I just use channel locks, plain old channel locks, nothing fancy. And that's what I've been using, and I find it helps if I heat up the edge a little bit just so it kind of turns blue, and just kind of helps take some of the stress out of the metal from it being folded over that 180 degrees, so that when it gets folded back, it doesn't want to crack, which can happen, especially if like the seam is kind of compromised by rust and fatigue and all that other stuff. So that's what I do there. Not saying it's the right way or the wrong way or whatever, it's just the way I'm doing it. It seems to work, so there you go. You probably saw me start by using this thing to heat up the edge, and I bought this a little while ago because it was on sale for like ridiculously cheap, and I have no self-control. It was actually working good, but the problem is that when I first brought it home, I spent a lot of time playing around with it because that's what you do when you get a new toy. And of course, we very rapidly ran out of oxygen. So it was working good. It's kind of a handy thing if you need like a small, precise, hot flame. I guess the downside is that, you know, it does go through oxygen fairly quick. Buying a proper oxyacetylene setup at the moment is not in the cards, and basically I just like playing with fire. And that's really all it is I just like playing with fire. So then I switched over to using this thing, which it still gets the job done, but you know, not as good as this worked, but whatever. Well, we got this door skin peeled off here, and I don't know, it's not looking too good. The good news is we got it off, and it actually came off not too bad. A lot easier than some of the other door skins I've tried taking off in the past. Bad news is we found some unexpected rust here. Well, we knew about this little pinhole here that had been brazed up, but you know, not surprisingly, this whole corner is gone. But the problem we have is as we go up, this is heavily eaten up all the way up past here. See all this heavy pitting, and I don't know if you can see daylight through there, but I cleaned it up with the wire brush a bit, and like you can literally just like poke right through it like it's tin foil. You can see all through here these little mounds where it's literally like just about to poke through. Plus somebody's already ground over all this with a heavy grinding disc, which further contributed to the problem. And here we were just like blowing through like it was nothing, and like you go and push on it, like you expect that on a modern car, but you go over to like good metal and it doesn't do anything at all. But right along this edge, like that's just like there's nothing there at all. So I mean, I can't even weld stuff like this up. Well, you can do anything, but the time you trying to weld this or braze it or whatever, you just end up, you know, creating more and more holes, and then by the time you grind it down, it's already thin, and then you're grinding over it, and now it's like, you know, basically nothing there. It just I don't know, it's not great. Here's the brazed area we were talking about. And again, more, well, this is from drilling out a spot weld, so we'll just ignore that. That's not a big deal. But you know, right here, this is all rust here, and putting in a patch here, I guess, is not the end of the world. But you know, if you get into this up through here, and then we still got this old repair here, and this old repair and mangliness here. That's pretty ugly there. So like, where does it end? And then we still got all of this through here, and dent here. This is all creased in here, pretty long crease. Obviously this we've looked at, and yeah, there's dents all through here. This, and then in here, this was all bunched up, and somebody took a heavy grinding disc, and again, the metal is like paper thin, so this would need a patch. Even though I think we're shaving these holes, but you know, it would need a bigger patch, and which would take more time, I guess. Now, before you say, "Oh, just buy a new door skin," well, he wants original panels on his car, so that's not what the guy wants. But this was already kind of a questionable door in the first place, and I just don't know if this is like it's gonna start pushing it over the line where you could just, you know, buy a better door, I'm thinking. So I'm just waiting to hear back from the guy and see what he wants to do. I kind of know what I want to do, but you know, it's not my choice to make. Well, it's a Christmas miracle. Another door has magically shown up. Talked to the owner, and luckily there's another fellow in Saskatchewan who had a door for sale. So owner bought that door, got it cleaned up, and looks like we're going to be using this door. And we're not repairing the garbage skin. Very sad to say, said no one ever. So same deal over here. Gonna fill the trim holes. Now there is a bit of an issue here on this one. Obviously we got our standard door corner repair, not a big deal, but well, look at that, it's rusted out in the exact same spot as the other one. The only saving grace here is this rust is going from the outside in instead of the inside out. So I'm thinking it's not necessary to de-skin this door like we had to do on the other one. Still have to do a patch here, obviously, but because the rust, you can see the pitting here, all of this rust is going, you know, down from this direction instead of coming up from the inside. So there's not really, the other one, the rust is coming up from the inside. So that's, I guess, a good sign there. This is, of course, caused by, apparently these doors are being stored outdoors, but they had a tarp over them. And if you're gonna leave stuff outside, just leave it outside. Don't put a tarp over it, because the tarp holds in moisture. And then you get this. A couple more years of sitting outside with a tarp on it, and this door would have been wasted. So I think we can get away without doing anything here. It's just going to be what it is. I'm not getting into cutting out like pitted metal just for the sake of cutting it out. I think it'll still feels fairly strong here, so I'm just going to leave that alone and just focus on the actual issues at hand here. This corner looks okay. Probably doesn't show up on camera, but there is a bit of a case of the grindies on this. Somebody's taken a grinder to this door. Here you can see some of the scratches there, hopefully. So it looks like it's only on its second restoration though, which is better than it being on its 15th restoration. So we'll just ignore the grinder marks and just fix what we need to fix. Okay, so we're back. I welded in a couple patches where they needed to be welded in. I didn't film that because I've already got dozens of MIG welding in patch panel videos. So this is just going to be a short video to basically make the internet angry. So I got our patches welded in, and we got one here, and obviously here, up here where this was rusted out. So it's all ground down, it's all cleaned, and ready to go that way. And now we're going to offend the internet again. So why not? Alrighty, well, there's our completed door repair situation there. Nothing to write home about here, but well, I mean, it's an original 64 Impala door, so I think that's got to be worth something. Yeah, this door still needed a bit of work, and we also had to fill in the trim holes here, and then we had a rust patch in here, which was kind of an odd place for it to rust, but we got that welded in. Here's our upper lead repair here, all smooth out and what have you. So again, nothing to write home about, but there it is anyways. You can see how the lead and the steel have actually kind of bonded somewhat, and it feathers out quite nicely into the surrounding steel. So we're essentially replacing metal with metal to some extent, which is, I guess, could be considered a good thing. Here's our little patch repair down here that we welded in. Again, just smooth out the transition with our lead product, as the pros say, which we are definitely not a pro, especially not at this, but you know what, we got the job done, and we now have a serviceable 64 Impala door, so that's got to be worth something. So my understanding for the plans for this door is that it's going to be getting coated in epoxy primer, and then the car is going to be driven in primer. So we're not trying to like make a perfectly straight door here. We're just trying to make a presentable door. This door is still, you know, it's got its battle scars, and you can't really pick it up on camera, but it's got, you know, somebody's gone over the whole thing with a pretty coarse grinder. You can kind of see the grinder scratches there, and you know, there's still pitting on the surface and what have you. So it's certainly not a flawless panel, but probably, I guess, to this stage, about as good as you're going to find for a 64 Impala these days that's still original steel. And I think all original steel is definitely on a 64 Impala convertible. That's got to be fairly desirable, I would think. As I said in the last video, you know, if I was trying to get these doors to the point where they were paint ready, I would just take regular plastic filler and just do a very light coat over the entire surface of the door, all the flat surfaces, and then I would block sand that smooth, and that would give me a nice straight door. It would take care of all the minor imperfections that are remaining, and by the time it was blocked out, you know, the amount of material on that would be so thin that it would be almost inconceivable, I guess. But I think that's to me, that's the best way to get a panel, I guess. You know, a panel like this anyway, straight for paint, and have it not, you know, wave back at you when it's all done. And even though it's not a perfect, flawless panel, it's certainly 1,000 times better than that other door that we started with. I don't even think, like, the amount of work to get that other door to this stage would just be absolutely insane. And really, I just don't think it would be a worthwhile endeavor. So this was the right door to fix for sure. Kind of a pretty exciting day here today. I went to my mail receptacle and found that we got ourselves a letter all the way from France. One of our viewers goes by the name, or screen name, I guess, of Brick Taverne. He's over there in France, and he's been following the channel for, well, quite a while, I think. I believe he also follows our buddy and mortal enemy there, Scott, over at Cold War Motors. And that's kind of how he found out about my channel, and he's been following my channel ever since. And he's always got lots of interesting things to say and share in the comment section. And he's also sent us a couple of very generous donations here. So it also turns out here that he is actually a retired police officer from New York. And I don't know if I'm supposed to read this whole letter on air here. Very kind letter, but I don't know if well, it's addressed to me, not to you folks. So, but the gist of it is that they have some perks from being retired, I guess, and perks and benefits. And one of the benefits are these decals or decals for you folks in the deep south. We'll show you this here in a minute, and he sent me one as well. And apparently you put these on your back window or side glass, I guess. Sounds like the side glass is where it's supposed to go, or the quarter window. And okay, yeah, you're not supposed to put on the rear windshield. Apparently that is illegal, so don't put your police decals on the rear window. Very important. It says here anyways, in any case, as a police officer approaches the driver from the left side, once I've been pulled over, oh, that's very good, he'll spot that decal and will note that it's in a legal position. This may, he uses may, make him less tense or suspicious about you. Yeah, probably all the, illegal contraband and things that I'm carrying with me at the time. And may want to engage in a dialogue with me on how you came to have such a decal. That would be an interesting conversation. This is where you state that you produce a YouTube channel on vehicle repair and restorations. You state that as an older, retired American street cop living in France is one of your biggest fans and sponsors, and that is true. He's sent us some very generous donations. I guess we're going to be putting that towards our future tickets that we're going to be getting from the law enforcement here. Anyways, it goes on to say this dialogue that we engage in may or may not help you out of a ticket in lieu of a verbal warning, depending on the cop himself and your behavior and respect. Well, of course, my behavior is going to be quite erratic. However, just know that most male cops are gearheads at heart. Well, I should hope so. So if the dialogue remains friendly, somewhat long or detailed after he's checked you out for any unknown outstanding warrants or bulletins, well, I think there's a few on me, so probably will be leaving in handcuffs, but nonetheless, we'll have a nice conversation at least. And that's really all that matters, is making friends. You will stand a good chance of getting off. Well, again, like we said, we got all kinds of warrants and things out for my arrest, so that might not happen, especially once they find all the illegal contraband in the car as well. I will try every so often send you a sponsored check. Well, actually, we might have to put that towards bail. I don't like PayPal or other electric pay plans for this very reason. You've been having trouble with them. They want to control you. Yeah, you got that right. We're still having trouble with PayPal and all these other jerks messing me around. So very kind of him to support the channel. And I actually got a special place for this decal that he sent us as well. It sounds like a pretty sharp idea. So we're gonna put it in our old Chevelle here, because I drive this car probably the most, and whole car just pull me over. I'm gonna do my darndest not to put this thing upside down. Let's see. Come on, Mr. Dyslexic. Ooh, easy there now. Definitely wants to stick. Everyone, leave a big thank you in the comment section for our friend Brick Taverne over there in France. Very kind of him to get in touch with us and support the channel and watch our videos. Obviously, he's been watching for a while, and he's also going to be, I guess, paying for some of my tickets with his wonderful donation. And now we get to look forward to making friends with some police officers. So there you go. Actually, I've only ever been pulled over once and ticketed for speeding in a Model A Ford. But, I think we just cranked the heat score up a little bit on the old Malibu there. I mean, we already got the cop hubcaps, and now we got the cop decal. All we really need to do is paint the wheels black, and we'll have the full cop impersonation there. And I'm sure they'll certainly appreciate that. I also got a package from a mystery person. I've only given out my address or my mailing address to a few people, and so I mean that kind of narrows it down. But I looked all over the box and the package, and I can't find a name anywhere. So if you're the person who sent this, please speak up, and so we can thank you properly, because this is pretty wild here. Somebody sent me a brand new backup pad for the grinding or sanding or stripping discs, and this is looks like a pretty decent quality one. And then they sent me a whole box of these. These are the 3M Scotch-Brite strip discs. These are like the actual good ones, not the garbage ones that I use. And like, holy man, there's a whole box of these. So like, somebody just really going above and beyond here. And well, I mean, thank you so much for this. I don't even like, wow. I was just about to buy like a couple more of these, but these things are not cheap. These are expensive, and they work great. But like, look at that. That's a lot. So I don't even know. Like I said, if you're the person who sent this, like, first of all, thank you very much. This is definitely going to be getting used, and it is very much appreciated and extremely generous. So, you know, please let me know, or send me an email or whatever if you sent this, so that I can actually thank you, you know, properly. But also leave a like and comment for mystery donation here, because that's awesome. So thank you again to our friend Brick Taverne over in France, and as well as a mystery person. And thank you to everyone else who's been helping out and supporting the channel, and, you know, even just watching the videos. I sure do appreciate all of you very much. I just want to go on record here and say that I am not a master at doing lead work. I have spent a lot of time researching the process and talking to people in the restoration and hot rod industry whose opinion I respect, in order to learn the, I guess, best or proper way of using it. So the steps that I use are things that I have learned from others and from doing a lot of research. Now, this is not a tutorial. The last video I did is not a tutorial. However, I do have kind of a tutorial, I guess, that I did a couple years ago. So if you're interested in learning more about the hows and the whys and what not to do and what to do, I have a video explaining that, which I'll put a link in the description, and you can watch that video. This is merely just for entertainment. I am absolutely not a master at doing lead work. I only use it a couple times a year, and so I can't paddle it out as nice as the guys who have been doing it their entire lives, or who do it every day. That's just the way it is. I am confident in the process that I use, and I'm at the point where, you know, I can get it to stay on the panel even on a vertical surface, or I've done it on an overhead surface, and I can get the lead to not end up on the floor. So that to me is a success, but I can't get it to paddle out as smooth as the guys who have been doing it forever. But at the end of the day, it's getting filed down anyways, so I guess it's just something that goes with experience and more practice. Now, for anybody saying that I'm wasting my time by using lead, or why would you bother with that, it's outdated and all that stuff, the reason I use it is because I can, and because I want to, and because I enjoy using it. So there you go. I'm working on saving up enough money where I can buy a bunch of lead, or body solder as it's technically supposed to be called. We just call it lead, but it's called body solder. I'm working on buying a kind of a bulk package of that, so that we can do more lead work in the future on our custom 1953 Chevy truck project. It is quite expensive, and probably only going to get more expensive as time goes on and harder to get. So I would like to stock up now while I can. So that's something that I'm working towards. So for all the people who have negative things to say, which is actually a pretty small number, but just for any of those people, I would say that you're the ones wasting time with your negativity. I've been doing this internet thing for a couple of years now, and what I have discovered is that it does not have anything to do with what I'm doing or whether or not I'm using lead or Bondo or metal finishing something or outside flying a kite. It's just the fact that I am doing something and somebody else is not doing something, and that's what makes them upset. Doesn't matter what the process is or what I'm doing, it's just I am working, getting things done, and somebody else, whether they're lazy or life didn't turn out the way they wanted, they are upset with the world that they aren't doing things. So they take it out on someone else by leaving stupid comments. So any of you folks out there who are thinking about making a YouTube channel, or even if you're just working on a project and you're not putting it on the internet, but you're afraid of what other people might think of it, just do what makes you happy. Don't worry about anybody else. The people who have bad things to say, they have nothing. They're just upset because somebody else is doing something. So the best way to combat those people is just continue doing what makes you happy. Because while they're typing on their keyboard frantically and being upset with the world, you're out there doing something on your project, you're getting things done, and at the end of the day, you get a completed project or a project that is further along, and they still end up with nothing. So don't let anybody else discourage you from doing what you want to do. Even if you try something and you fail horribly at it, or maybe it doesn't turn out quite the way you wanted it to and you're not totally happy with it, that's when the people, the haters, the negative people, that's when they really start to come after you. And it's, again, important to remember that you were still doing something, they were still doing nothing. You learned something, you're still further ahead than they are. And we go through history and failures are popular. People remember failures. People don't remember the critics. So keep that in mind. And there's your big motivational speech of the day. We're going to get into motivational speeches now. Pump yourself up, you know? We're just going to continue being sarcastic and grumpy. So don't worry. Nothing's changing. Speaking of change, don't worry. We're done with Impala doors and other stupid quests like that. We're back on the chicken truck now. I've been working on sectioning the hood, getting the hood to fit. So that's going to be the next video, is sectioning the hood on our 1953 Chevy custom project. We're going to get the hood sectioned and hopefully opening and closing in some which way. Then it's getting blown apart. The cab's coming off the frame. I'm going to get the roof welded up, or finish welding the top of the roof. Thank you everyone so much for following along on this miserable journey, and I hope to see you back again next week.